Bacon! I have the high ground! You underestimate my power!
We would be honored if you would join us.
This is where the fun begins.
You're listening to the 501st Chill Zone Live with Beanz Yoche, and coming up is an hour of fun Star Wars talk. So buckle up, punch that hyperdrive, and sit back as we get started. We'll be back with you in a moment after a word from High Brew Coffee.
Not all coffee is created equal. Step 1. We start with premium 100% fair trade Arabica beans. Then, we apply a light to medium roast, enhancing the beans' natural flavor. Next, we coarsely grind the beans. The grounds are then soaked in ambient temperature filtered water, never using any heat in the process. By letting time extract the flavor of the beans rather than heat, our coffee gets that smooth, sweeter, bold taste that's never bitter. We then filter the grounds, creating a delicious cold brew that naturally contains more antioxidants, caffeine, and less acid than traditionally brewed coffee. And voila! Your cold brew coffee is ready. With a different flavor for every type of coffee drinker, High Brew delivers natural energy, low sugar refreshment, and an elevated coffee experience. Plus, we are fair trade certified and gluten-free with a dairy-free option, low calories, and indulgent flavors, all in a portable, shelf-stable, slim, ready-to-drink can. With twice the caffeine and way less sugar, we bring people a next-level coffee that refreshes, empowers, and inspires them to make the most of every day.
Hey, bro, you need some body wash? What do you mean body?
Well, hello again. This is the 501st Chill Zone Live with Beanz Yoche, bringing you an hour of fun Star Wars talk. Tonight with me, I have, once again, on the far left, just a dude who eats bacon, and here in the middle, our special guest we've been talking about since last week, Mr. Danny Rameriz. Guys, thanks for coming on the show tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing, yeah, can't complain.
Good to hear.
Be here.
Well, as you guys just heard, again, that is High Brew Coffee, cold brew for those who do. There's 2 cups of coffee per can. Again, as always, I have my can of High Brew with me, keeping me refreshed and caffeinated to get through the night. But that's all I'm going to do for High Brew for tonight. Links will be down in the description below, so enjoy that. Guys, anything you want to talk about to get us started tonight?
Star Wars, I don't know. Movies.
I like it. Bacon, you
So,
always got
are we
something.
talking all movies or like just Star Wars?
Whatever. I don't care.
Alright, Far From Home. Far From Home. It's like the best.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oof, you guys, you got to. You'll see me like get up every now and then because I'm getting way too excited about things.
Yeah, I
So-
only just Into the Spider-Verse last night and this morning, so.
I feel bad because I haven't even seen that. I think I saw how it should have ended. So, that's
pretty good.
I saw about the last hour of Into the Spider-Verse. I missed the first half of it. So.
It was good. It was, kind of turned the whole story on its head a bit with the characters and getting rid of the actual Spider-Man and just going off in his own different direction. It was a little less predictable. Still predictable, but a little less predictable. Good movie.
I will totally legally watch it online.
Totally.
It's gonna be totally legal. Don't pirate movies, kids.
Ain't that the truth? Don't do it. Not worth it.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Well, anything else you guys want to discuss before we move on?
No, let's just jump right in.
All right, I will ask
Let's
this.
do it.
Bacon, you had a figure for sale earlier. How'd that go?
Yes. Which one are you talking about? The Mandalorian? Or...
figure.
So the guy messaged me finally, and he's like, "Hey, so I haven't been paid yet, but I will deposit the money on Monday. So hopefully that works. If not, it's going up for sale officially. So let's hope for the best."
Yep.
I can, of course, still make pretty much any figure you guys want. I've got all of the Mandalorians, as you can all clearly see. So
Sweet.
Is it as cool as this guy?
I do have a Boba Fett. I do. I had the new Cloud City one, but I have no idea where that one went, and I'm kind of annoyed because it had the best arm printing. But I'll find it. But yes, I'm a very big fan of Mandalorians.
As you mentioned before, like, who isn't a fan of a Mandalorian? They're just awesome.
They are.
Well, one more tidbit of business. You can find us on YouTube, Discord, Breaker, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the 501st Chill Zone website. These guys, Mr. Rameriz and Just a Dude Who Eats Bacon, you can find them on Instagram. Their links will be down below as well. And now we're going to move on to our section on social media. This is just where we check up on our hosts and followers, or hosts and sub accounts. And tonight we'll be checking on Just a Dude Who Eats Bacon and Mr. Daniel Rameriz. So for starters, Bacon at Just a Dude Who Eats Bacon. He has 653 followers. So let's try and get him up to 700.
Oh, hey, I gained one.
Yeah, you gained one.
Cool. Because last time I checked, I was at 652.
652. Yeah, you were there this morning when I made our rough schedule, and then I went back on about 15 minutes ago and updated. I said, "Oh, he gained one." So, give you the most current information. Mr. Danny Rameriz at Spiffy Nerd Herder on Instagram. You can find him there. Again, that's going to be linked below. He's got 3,671 followers. Let's get him to the 3,700 mark.
604K. 672 actually.
672. Okay, got the one follower gain.
Wait. Yeah, I just followed him.
Oh. What? You've not been following him yet?
No, I feel bad because I didn't know about this. I feel bad. I have binged all the Vader trailers, so that's got to count for something.
I will say that Vader fan film, that was awesome. We're gonna get more on that in a few minutes.
I mean, if you need any extras, hit me up. I got a really cool costume that I could use. I'll probably end up showing it later on.
I think we probably have about 4,000 emails of people wanting to be in the film.
I mean, I'd do it for free, just to be like a Mandalorian. I don't even care if you guys kill me off, just knowing I'm in a Star Wars movie is the best thing I can imagine.
I'm right there with you. Last time we checked in with co-host Yoshi. He's not here tonight, but we still check in with him anyway. At RoYoshiSC. Has 69 followers, still currently 69 followers. Last time we checked in with my account, the 501st Chill Zone, 764 followers, currently up to 785. Last time we checked in with our Ed Trooper sub account, had 54 followers, 42 likes on the Rex Egg, currently 53 followers, 42 likes on the Rex Egg, still holding. Last time we checked in with the official Egg Trooper, 227 followers with 1,022 likes. Currently 224 followers with 1,022 likes. And now our sub accounts. Obi-Wan's 212 Chill Zone, last time we checked in, 142 followers, still holding there at 142. Maul's Confederacy Chill Zone, last time we checked in there, 127 followers, currently up to 128. Last time we checked in with Chloe's 104th Chill Zone, had 76 followers, still holding at 76. Last time we checked in with Han's Smuggler's Chill Zone, 64 followers, still currently 64 followers. Last time we checked in with Luke's Rogue Squad Chill Zone, 71 followers, still got 71. Maya's Rebels Chill Zone, 73, still holding at 73 followers. Blue's 607th Chill Zone, last time we checked in, 55 followers, still holding at 55. Last time we checked in with my partner at Dress Soka, 300 followers, currently up to 308 followers. Whew. Tell you one thing, that is That is a mouthful of
A lot of people.
a lot of people, a lot of words, a lot of numbers, but none of this would be possible without him. And tonight,
I think we should combine all of them. Just create one big account, have all the followers. That would be the best.
It would. And none of this would be possible without any of these guys. And tonight wouldn't be possible without either one of you two, because I can't do this by myself. I've told Yoshi many times I can't do it myself. This is just one of those things. I mean, who wants to listen to me talk for an hour? And I have a lot more fun.
Well, you have an accent, so that goes on.
Yeah. But I mean, I have a lot more fun with you guys too. So there's that.
Even though you all hate when I mention Legends.
Hey, I'm not the one who's against Legends. That was everybody else. I don't know what's wrong with them. Legends is great.
Canon fodders. That's my way of saying they only follow the current canon.
Yeah.
I'm smart that way.
Well, do you guys have any plans with your social media accounts you want to discuss before we move on?
Ooh, I do, aside from the normal growing. I'm doing a promotion where, because my friend sent me the leaked pictures of the First Order Sith Trooper and how it looks amazing. So I'm like, what's a good thing that I could do? And then I decided I'm going to do a pre-order promotional special where I release pre-ordered versions of the Sith Troopers. So I make the custom figures, and then for $20 you can pre-order one of them. And, I'll ship them out and I'll do all that the day, they all arrive the day the movie comes out. So you can go to the premiere if that's what you want to do, and you can have your little Sith figure with you.
I like it. Mr. Rameriz, you got anything you want to discuss with your social medias?
We got on the YouTube channel, we got a Spiffy Nerd Herder. We have a giveaway for some Mandalorian armor frame on your wall.
Yes.
I've already chosen the winner. I just got to make the video to announce. And I'm working on a Netflix show right now, so I'm just pretty busy.
Can we ask which one?
I don't know if I can say, but it's not out yet. They just started filming it. It's the first season of it, but it's pretty dang awesome.
Which what kind of show? Like Star Wars, superhero,
No, it's not superhero, or not Star Wars. It's superhero.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Pretty awesome. But then that and writing a bunch of stuff. So I've been pretty silent on all my social media the last month and a half, unfortunately, just so dang busy. I've been hoping to be able to free up some time here soon. So, but just keep a lookout. All those who entered the contest to win the Mandalorian framed armor, just keep a lookout.
Hey,
for the winner.
Sounds awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing that seeing that for sure. I'll be looking for that to come out on Netflix. Let me know when it's released. I'll be watching that for sure.
Yeah, next year. Kind of the mid next year it'll come out. So not for a while.
We'll get to say we met him.
Yep, we can. We can. Well, as we continue on tonight, we're going to move into one more quick ad from our friends at Old Spice.
Because men have skin too.
Hey, bro, you need some body wash? What do you mean body wash? I use bar soap. What is this? A promo. Cool mint body wash from Old Spice's new Fresher collection with real ingredients and real benefits. It's actually really good for soft skin. Man, my girl has a bunch of shower stuff for her skin. That's only for women. Men have skin too. Women have had skin products for years. It's 2019. I'm tired of being ashy, and you need body wash. No, I don't. You need some spice. You think this is a joke? They actually put some mint up in the cool mint, bro.
Fresher collection is fresher than Fresh Prince. Chewing gum and sipping ice water out of some fresh kid.
You need some spice.
So exfoliate your skin with some chocolate. Shea butter moisturizer, make it sparkle.
Like a light. Old Spice got me feeling brand new. Now I'm passing it to you, cause men have skin too. You need some spice.
Go get that.
Spice.
Ooh, yeah.
You need some
spice. Go get that.
Spice.
Ooh, yeah.
You need some spice.
Go get that.
Spice.
Ooh, yeah.
You need some spice.
Go get that.
Spice.
Body wash.
So that was Old Spice. because you know what? Men have skin too. It's all part of God's plan. Maybe. There we go.
God's plan. God's plan.
I don't know why, but my feed's not working tonight. My overlay mixer. Well, time for our main part of the show, and tonight we are talking about Vader, Shards of the Past. And of course, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we have director Danny Rameriz on with us tonight to bring us some information about that movie. Again, we welcome him greatly. We'll show the trailer for the Vader fan film in a few minutes, so that way if you haven't seen it, you'll have an opportunity to get inspired to see that one and Vader 2, which is coming out. Is there a release date for that one yet?
Not yet. No, we're funding. You know, these things are expensive, so funding is the big question right now. When that'll happen, you know, hopefully next year.
I might be able to donate something.
Well, as you heard,
anybody who wants to donate, just hit up Star Wars Theory's Patreon page. They can donate to them.
Definitely be doing that. I will link that down below as well for everybody, so you can click that link pretty easy and go access that. But again, that's Vader, Shards of the Past, Episode 1. That came out last December. And as we just heard from Mr. Ramirez, he's hoping maybe next year sometime that we'll be able to get Vader 2. But from the trailer, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. With what we have for a trailer so far. In fact, let's take a look at that.
Episode 2 is going to be awesome.
We would be honored if you would join us.
What is thy bidding, my master?
I have a task for you, my young apprentice.
So there, you just heard it. That was Vader, Shards of the Past, the trailer for that, and the trailer for Vader 2. Not sure what's going on with our video feed for tonight.
I'm like the only one up here. So
we got one
hi guys.
And maybe Bacon will come back in a few minutes. I should turn my feed back on.
You guys can't see me?
Yep, we got you.
No, I'm all alone. I only see myself.
Because you tapped yourself. Maybe tap out or something.
How do I?
I can't remember how to do it. But as we just saw, that was Vader, Shards of the Past, and Vader 2. So we'll be looking at that coming up. But first of all, Mr. Ramirez, I got a couple questions for you. What's your favorite Star Wars movie and why?
Revenge of the Sith is my favorite. I always have to make the distinction that Episode 3 is my favorite because I can watch it over and over and over again. I saw it 8 times when it came out in theaters, like in the theaters. I saw it 8 times because my brother had seen Jurassic Park 7 times, so I had to beat him. And I figured Episode 3 was a good one to do it because you got to keep in mind when that came out. I mean, I was your guys' age, I guess, and it was the last Star Wars movie. That was it. There were no more Star Wars movies after that.
Right.
At least that's what we thought at the time.
Yeah.
And so I remember seeing that. I loved it, and it's always been my favorite. Like I can watch that anytime. I'm always thoroughly entertained, especially from the moment like Obi-Wan starts fighting General Grievous. From then on, I think it's my favorite like piece of cinema that exists. Now I think the best made Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back. By far. I don't even think it's a question. However, it's not my favorite. I always say that even the Star Wars that aren't the best ones, I say are the least. I still like them all. But yeah, I got to go with 3 for sure because it's the culmination of everything. It really satisfied me.
That could have been more perfect. Episode 3, we've all agreed it's the best
God's
one.
plan.
It's all part of God's plan. Like everything works out. Everybody that comes on, they say Revenge of the Sith is their favorite Star Wars movie.
Except that one person that said it was like A New Hope. No, Return of the Jedi. Someone said Return of the Jedi.
That was Yoshi, and he came up and he said, first he said The Phantom Menace, and then he switched. And now he says Return of the Jedi.
I've only met one person who thought that The Phantom Menace was their favorite. And he actually worked at Lucasfilm.
Whoa.
Yeah. How do you feel about the new movies Disney is making?
I'm just happy they're making Star Wars movies. I mean, like I said, when Episode 3 came out, those were the last ones. You know, I was never going to get a chance to see another Star Wars. I was never going to get a chance to make a Star Wars, which is like my professional goal to direct actual Star Wars, in addition to original that I did. But I'm happy. Look, to me, Star Wars movies is always better than others. I'm looking forward to The Mandalorian. I'm looking forward to Episode 9. I hope the Cassian Andor series is pretty solid. Anxiously waiting to see how that ties into the rebellion, which I'm sure it will. And Leia might be a character in that. It's a younger Leia, like she was in Rebels. So I just hope they keep making it. I want Knights of the Old Republic. I want other stuff. The only thing that I really want them to do is that I always want them to keep the Force in the movies. I don't want them to ignore the Force. If you ignore the Force, it becomes Star Trek.
Exactly.
And I don't like Star Trek. I don't care about Star Trek. So keep it Star Wars. Keep the Force. Even Rogue One, the Force is mentioned dozens of times in that. So it always feels like Star Wars. The Jedi are mentioned. Everything. The essence of just the Kyber crystals is connected. But Solo, I thought was a pretty fun movie, and I thought was awesome. The only thing that I think wasn't going, I didn't feel as Star Wars, except for the Darth Maul thing.
Right.
Yeah, but see, I kind of like that. I kind of like that about Solo. How it was like, the beginning at least was amazing with the gritty war, all that good stuff, and it was refreshing to not have like a galaxy be focused on Jedi and Sith. To see like how the average person really lives under the Empire, which is also why I liked Rogue One. The Empire, it's something that we haven't seen too much of, other than it crushing down on rebels.
Right, and blowing up.
That rebel propaganda, it never. It's all rebel propaganda.
Star Wars
repeating.
Go ahead.
Repeating rebel propaganda is treason.
Of course it is. You know, Star Wars has a history. Every movie, a lightsaber is activated. Originally, the history was every movie there's a lightsaber duel. And then you get Rogue One, and there's no Jedi to fight against, but you at least had a lightsaber in use. Solo, you at least got to see a lightsaber. So, I think... You think maybe it's going to continue to be a trend that we see a lightsaber in every Star Wars movie?
I'd love that. Lightsabers are amazing. I want more Darth Maul. Like, not like Darth Maul, like, you know, Sith apprentice. Like, Darth Maul, like, leading the crime syndicates. Leading Crimson Dawn and all that good stuff.
We know he's alive up until the Rebels.
Yeah, they could have done more with him, at least in the final fight, you know? It makes sense to close his arc as, you know, he's all ready for a fight to the death and Obi-Wan just takes him down in 2 strikes. But, you know, it was a little anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Still good, but...
I liked how he did it. You know, we've seen them fight 37 times, so... You know, the moment was him dying in his arms, not the fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you semi-answered this question a few minutes ago talking, but will you watch the live-action TV shows when they are released?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm a pretty big devourer of the new Star Wars content. Like, I read a lot of comics. I virtually read all the books, or listened to all the books. I just listened to them as I commute. But the only thing, I have not seen all the episodes of Resistance. I struggled to get into Resistance, mostly because I didn't really care for the characters, and there was no Force involved, there was no Jedi, no Sith. So I personally don't care about movies that are about nobody characters. To me, there has to be a reason why the character is the hero of the story. So I kind of tend to gravitate towards film, where the character has a purpose.
I have something that you might be interested in that case. I'm currently wrapping up a little, I don't want to say fan fiction because that kind of has a bad connotation with fans, but it's a little out-of-universe, kind of my own personal Star Wars story, where it's 4 books. I'm finishing up the last 2 now. And, you know, it's about a Mandalorian, and he's going... And you said you read all the Legends books?
No, I read all the canon books. I've not... there's like 400 Legends books. I've not read all those.
Yeah. Well, have you read the Republic Commando novels?
I haven't.
Then you'll like my book. I bring back Cal Scarada and his whole clan, and, you know, I do some pretty cool stuff with them. So there is... Jedi Mandalorians because of Bard and Juzik. So there's your Jedi fix for you. And you know, it's a cool story. Cool, I also came up with my own way of what happened to Sev because we unfortunately never got to find out. So Sev is back. He's alive. And you know, he's well. So I'm pretty proud of those books.
Cool, man. Cool. How long are they?
They're not that long. I think, it's less than, like, on a Word document, it's less than 10 pages. Because I just, you know, I didn't want to write, like, a bunch of filler stuff. You know, I wanted to keep the story interesting.
Cool.
So, you know, quick little, probably less than an hour to read. So, but I think they're good. That's actually where, the name that I told you about before, that was that character.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
You know, one of my big philosophies in filmmaking is you can't predict what your audience is. It's just not possible. Filmmakers have been trying to do it for 100 years, and nobody knows what people like. You know, not only can you not predict what people are going to like, you can't predict what's going on in the world when you release your book or your film. All that stuff. So the best gauge that I think you can have is something you just mentioned. Do you like it? So whenever I direct something or write something, it's always like, do I like this? It's something I would want. Because that's the one thing you can predict without 100% absolute certainty. And if you go with that, then not only going to be passionate about it, but I think it's more likely to be liked by other people.
Agreed. People aren't going to like your work if you don't like it yourself.
Right. This is a good question. Who's your favorite Star Wars character and why?
I kind of always gravitate towards the stereotypical answer of Anakin, just because of his rise and fall and redemption. Of course, like him in the Clone Wars cartoons as well. I like Luke as well because of his progression as a character in the original trilogy. Interested to see how he ends up episode 9, where he ends as a character back in with the Force and the Jedi and everything, as opposed to kind of where we left off with him in episode 8. Yeah, Anakin. I like Quinlan Voss a lot. He's always got a soft spot in my mostly because of the book Dark Disciple.
Yeah, they did a great job with him. I loved his connection with Ventress. That was very good.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite canon book by far. I like Lost Stars too.
Yes, I love Lost Stars, and mostly I'll admit because it goes somewhat in depth in like Empire cadet training.
Yeah, it was all cool, and that's like one of the only instances where I've liked just going with somebody who's an average person.
Yeah,
they did a good job of making you care about what is it, Sienna and Tyrell or whatever they're.
Thane and Sienna. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
I can grab my copy.
So I like that book as well. I like the main characters. That's a good answer enough.
Well, we have a lot in common because I'm an Anakin fan as well, and I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. I'm trying to think of 1,000 different things keeping this show going, but a lot of things you mentioned, I'm like, I'm the same way. I agree 100%. Oh, there's Revenge of the Sith, as you said, that you liked. Revenge of the Sith, Anakin Skywalker, my type of guy. It's great.
All right, don't force choke me on this, but Anakin he's not my favorite. He's definitely one of them, but he's not my favorite. I'm more of a, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you want to count it, then Darth Vader and Darth Maul are about tied. I like the bad guys, if you can't tell. So I'd say they're about tied. Of course, Mandalorians, but the only Mandalorian we got had 15 minutes of screen time and then was eaten by a Sarlacc, and the other one got his head chopped off. So.
And they weren't even Mandalorians.
Well, okay. If we want to go canon-wise, we're not necessarily sure because why would the Mandalorian government say, yeah, Jango Fett was a Mandalorian? But legends-wise, he's definitely a Mandalorian. Boba Fett isn't, but
I just go with what George said. George said they weren't.
What was it like working on Shards of the Past?
It's a big question. It was great. Star Wars Theory is a great guy to work with. The absolute genesis of the idea of doing a film about Vader was his idea. From there, we developed the whole story. If you don't know, Shards of the Past is episode 1 of 3 for the first season, I guess you could say, for the first story arc. Of course, there's tons of other stories you could tell about Vader. But it's episode 1 of 3. The other 2 episodes are about the same length. They do have a lot more action in them. However, we'll talk about it. But back to episode 1. Fantastic experience. The biggest thing I had to prevent myself from asking was the thing I was talking about earlier. I tried not to ask myself the question of what are the fans. I tried to say, what am I going to like? I mean, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so if I like it, chances are other people will like it. So I was always trying to look inward when we were writing it, just directed. If I, because like I said, that's the one thing I could totally predict. I feel like other filmmakers, even on the canon films, have tried to predict what fans are going to like to disastrous results. So I didn't want to make that same mistake. But the film was about, the whole process of making the film was about 10 months. So it was a really long process. About 6 of those months were totally full time. So it was a big chunk of my life on 13 minutes or however long the film is. But it gives you an idea of how much time it takes to try to get it to a decent quality, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it was always a great experience, super stressful and time consuming swim spot. But I love directing, so I can't complain at all.
Now, do you plan on adding any Mandalorian?
No, there's no Mandalorian. No Mandalorians. We actually were considering bringing in Boba Fett because Mace Windu will be in the later episodes. But we decided that would just be fan service and it would actually the story suck, because then the story would become about Mace Windu and Boba Fett, not about Darth Vader and Mace Windu. So we just totally cut the idea out. Boba Fett will have to settle his beef with Mace another time. What were you going to say?
I like the helmet.
Yeah, that's my armor right there. It's quite beautiful. If you guys want, I can show you the full suit. Not on me, that would take too long.
I will say this. I absolutely loved Shards of the Past. I was really looking forward to it. The only thing that disappointed me was the fact when I found out it was 15 minutes. I was so engaged with it. I wanted more. I was like, I need more of the story. And I'm excited to see episode 2. And now that you mentioned there's going to be a third one, I'm going to be excited to see that one. Because I know it takes so long to film and it's so expensive to film. But at the same time, we're sitting there like, we want more. Let's see what comes up next, because you left us on a cliffhanger. For me personally,
well, that was definitely on purpose to leave on a cliffhanger. Absolutely was on purpose. The most important thing to me was always the story. Like, we've had a ton of fan films, some of them really fantastic, others not so much, that are just two Jedi meet in the woods and fight to the death. That was the very last thing we wanted. We had no desire just to do a lightsaber.
Now, have you? I assume because of what you do that you saw the Darth Maul fan film.
Yeah, and I actually I've spoken to Sean Bew, who's the director of that. Very nice guy, and I think they did a great job. No doubt, it's one of the pinnacles of fan, 100%. But they're the rare case where doing a fight in the woods, to be honest. And so that was something we did not want to do. We really wanted to get into Vader's character, explore the question of why does this guy who was completely shafted by the dark side of the Force stick with it? Why does he fully commit to the dark side when it actually took away everything that he wanted to even keep? And that's a question that's, the comics have answered it a little bit, but I don't think they've done the greatest job. So we really wanted to explore that. And but the Darth Vader comic hadn't even finished its run when we wrote to Mage. But so that's always been the question, how does Vader turn to the dark side for love, yet he stayed on the dark side for love? So how does that happen? So that's what the whole series is trying to answer. And so we started off episode 1 with a fight because we wanted to engage viewers right away. But then we just went into story. And we got some flack for that. Some people said, hey, I just wanted a fight. And, that's cool. But I don't care.
If they want to see Vader fight, they can watch the last 2 minutes of Rogue One.
Yeah. And now I will say episode 2 will give those people plenty of fighting. There is episode 2 is nearly all fighting. But the first and foremost thing for me is definitely to try to stay with Vader as a character, help us to relate with him, like we tried to achieve in episode 1 in the context. So that's going to be that and an episode. But there's some sweet fighting, some stuff we've never seen before, including in the comics, and it's awesome.
That perfectly answered the next question. Is there anything we can expect to see for Vader 2?
Well, a lot of fighting, like I said. I want you to be able to relate to Vader again, like we tried to do in episode 1. We're gonna see a lot of Jedi.
Ooh.
So too, like here's some concept art. Them chasing Vader or charging Vader.
No, I can't find the right chat. So, one of you guys help me out here.
What's that?
The right
DM chat for the group.
Oh, I just showed the thing. I didn't share it with you in the chat.
But now I feel bad because I didn't see it.
It was just on the screen behind me. I was just showing.
Alright.
The what's it called? Yeah. So Mace Windu, you can expect a different character than what we've been used to seeing. He will still have the same resolve and power that he had in the Clone Wars and in the films. But times have changed. The Jedi Order doesn't exist anymore. He has scoured the galaxy and has only found, you can see there, he's only found 10 Jedi. Some of them are masters, others are knights, some are Padawans. And so he's doing what he can to not only, I'm trying to figure out how much detail I should go into, trying to rectify what Vader has done. Trying to fix it. We'll just say that. So I think he's going to be a very nuanced character, definitely more so than what we saw. So hopefully we can find a good actor to really portray it. Somebody who will bring their own, twist to the character. Because I don't want a Samuel Jackson impersonator.
I was just gonna say, just send a message to him because he said he wants to play Windu again.
Yeah,
just be like, hey,
even if he wanted to, we couldn't do it because
you couldn't afford him.
Well, even if he did it for free, we couldn't do it because Screen Actors Guild rules. So, because we're not it's all union thing because fan films aren't union jobs, and union actors are not acting. It's a whole deal that's nonsense and.
Man,
so we couldn't even get Sam Jackson if we wanted.
That's a shame. That would have been like that. Awesome. Literally would have made it the best.
It would be awesome. It'd be the coolest thing ever to get him. He's an incredibly talented actor. He's super cool. But so we haven't casted Windy yet, nor have we really held many ideas.
I actually, and this is gonna sound weird because we just met, but I might know someone who has actually expressed interest in me in playing a Jedi. And, he's the right kind of fit for the character. So I will... he's 33.
Might be too young, but we'll see.
I'm sure he would do whatever it took to get cast as, Mace Windu.
So we'll be looking for a character.
I'll send you a message.
Yeah, send him a message and just have him email VaderFanFilm@gmail. So we'll be looking for a very... specific type of character, but actors who do impersonations always suck. They're not good actors because impersonation is not. One of the things we found when we were doing Sidious, particularly the voice of Sidious, is that there's a lot of people who can really do the voice, really just knock it out of the park when they're reciting lines from the movie. But as soon as you give them new lines that are not in the movies, that are original lines, say, the voice falls apart and everything. So the same is true with Samuel Jackson. Let's say you do a scene with him with Anakin. Maybe they just knock it out of the park, but as soon as you give them an original scene, they may struggle. So as a director, you always got to kind of look out. Why it's super important to have actors audition to scenes that they've never seen before, so they aren't trying to imitate.
Well,
now, where do you do all the filming in Los Angeles, or?
For episode 1, it was all in Los Angeles. Episode 2 most likely will be here. So that's where the entire crew is. We'll probably use mostly the same crew. We'll have quite a few more makeup artists because we have a lot of them pretty heavily prosthetic. But yeah, we'll be keeping a lot of the same guys to do the second.
Now, I've given my opinion about it, but Bacon, how do you feel about Vader's Shards of the Past?
Oh God, it's Vader, you know? Like, that's about all I really need to say, you know? It's like the Rogue One scene, but expanded on. It's
well,
just, it's a glorious thing to witness over and over again, sometimes multiple times a day.
Yeah, I was at work today, and it came up. Oh, you have a YouTube channel? Yeah, and so we pulled it up, and then they're like, "What's this Star Wars thing you keep mentioning?" So I showed it to them. They're like, 11 million views, and I didn't know that it hit 11 million views, so that was a surprise to me. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." So thanks to everybody who's watched it. Really,
I think half of those might be me.
Well, thank you for your 5.5 million views.
I will say, going in, because I've watched many fan films before that one was released, going in, I didn't have big expectations because I'd seen the other ones, and honestly, all these other ones weren't that great. Like, Bucketheads was about the only one I enjoyed. I enjoyed the Darth Maul one, but going into Vader, I was thinking, it's just going to be one of these low-down movies. Maybe get 2 hours out of it. I was kind of hoping for that, but it's like, maybe it's just going to be one of these cheap movies. I said the first scene, I said, this is the best fan film there is. Like, who can beat it?
Thank you.
Nobody can beat it. And like I've said many times already, looking forward to episode 2. As soon as the day it's released, I'm watching it. That's what I did with the Shards of the Past. I wasn't able to make it to the theater to see it, but as soon as I found it on YouTube to watch it, I was sitting there, I was watching it.
Wait, it was in a theater?
We had a premiere in a theater. And we had like 5 showings that people, and it was a party, man. It was a shindig. It was fun. So we'll probably do the same thing again for episode 2. It'd be in LA again. But very, very kind words said. It means a lot when people like the film, whether or not it's best fan film. I have no stance on that because I see the flaws in the movie more than anybody else. But I just hope that episode 2 people can really enjoy it even more. And I hope people, one of the cool things about fan films and age that we live in is that so much is possible for amateur filmmakers. Like in our case, we built a set and we shot on a stage, but you don't have to do that. I mean, you can film in the woods. We personally just didn't want to do that, but you can film in the woods. The one thing that I think people always forget when they do fan films is that the one thing you get for free is story, and that's nothing. You can cost that's absolutely free. So I'm excited to see the future of fan films. I love that the fans are getting more and more into them. Like with the Scene 38 reimagined, how many people enjoyed watching. I hope that we see more original fan films for sure, that are expanding on the canon or telling it's a fine line telling news stories because they really got to be good. You know, we had the a distinct advantage of telling a story about the most popular character in the saga. So we I totally recognize that we had that crutch going for us. But yeah, I'm excited for the future of fan films because you can make a fan film nearly at the quality of the prequels and the originals.
Not quite with the CGI.
I think you can. You know, our full CGI shots were almost as good as episode 1. They weren't great, you know, but they passed. Doing 3D characters, now that's a whole different. Doing ships and stuff like that, that's relatively easy stuff. I mean, it's not easy, but when you do 3D characters, the problem with 3D characters isn't modeling the 3D characters; it's animating them. Animating means like the movements of them. That's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly time-consuming, and so that's the problem with those. That's why I don't think we're going to be seeing 3D characters like Yoda or Maz Kanata or Jar Jar Binks or something. You know, I don't think we're going to be seeing
Jar Jar.
I don't think we're going to be seeing those in fan films anytime soon. I'd say let's give it 10 or 15 years. Then
challenge accepted.
So, but you know, of really good quality. Because that's the hard.
Now, on the heels of fan films, I'm actually in talks with writing a script with my friend Ian about a Commander Fox themed movie, kind of like you know, like NCIS, that kind of stuff, and it's just, you know, the Coruscant Guard going around kicking down crap. So, cool. It started off as actually a Lego stop motion that we were going to do, and we were talking, and he's like, well, they're greenlighting everything, so why don't we propose it to Disney? And I'm like, I don't know, that might be taking it too far, but if you can do it, go ahead. I mean, so it could go from being a fan film to, like, an actual, like, kind of show.
That would be sweet.
There would be Mandos in it.
You know who to call.
Oh, I know.
Well, one thing I realized I completely skipped over earlier was after an Old Spice commercial, I jumped right into this, but Old Spice keeping us, well, I don't know about these guys, but me and when Yoshi's here, keeping Yoshi fresh and smelling good, looking our best for each and every podcast. Go check them out. They're going to be linked down below, as well as High Brew. And again, I'm going to say it again in case you forgot. Mr. Rameriz and Bacon, they'll both be linked down below, so you can check them out as well. I encourage you to go check out both of them, give them follows, throw the support and love their way. I can't thank either one of them enough for coming on the show tonight. It's been awesome. But anything else you want to talk about as far as any of the Vader films?
No, just thanks for watching it. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's too many filmmakers out there put their heart and soul into a film, put it on the internet, and only get 27. It's sad because filmmaking's hard. It's kind of unfair because, like I mentioned with Vader, it took 10 months to make it, and you spend thousands of hours sometimes making a short film. If you combine everybody's work, it's well over thousands of hours. And then somebody gets to watch it in 13 minutes and give it a pass-fail judgments, you know, like, oh, that sucked, or, oh, you know, oh, that was great, hopefully is what they say. But it's, like, so unfair, you know. It takes so long to make it, yet people judge it in the amount of time it takes to watch it. So more respect to all the filmmakers out there who are doing that, who are making films. I hope everything you make is wildly successful, my stuff included.
Now, have you thought about releasing bloopers?
There's really not any bloopers, to be honest. I do have an avid bin of the bloopers. There's only 3 or something like that, and they're not huge. The best one is when we're doing a shot of Vader as he's talking to the Emperor as he's sitting in his throne, and a light falls off the wall behind him. I mean, that's about it. And the Emperor did hit the camera with his face when he was crawling on the ground. and he fell to the ground and starts crawling away from Vader before he gets his legs all broken. He slams the camera pretty hard, but you can't really tell what's happening on camera, so it's not the greatest one that we all those who worked on it, because it hurt him pretty good. He gave his body for the film.
Well, let's move on to our next section here, Saga Talk. For those of you who maybe haven't heard the podcast before, Saga Talk is where we pick a film, we go through each film, and just talk about our thoughts and opinions on each and every film. We've been going in order, starting from The Phantom Menace, then we did Attack of the Clones, we did the Clone Wars series, Revenge of the Sith, Solo, Rogue One, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Last Tuesday, me and Bacon, we discussed The Force Awakens, and so tonight we are up to The Last Jedi. And
Ooh.
The plan is to start over again with The Phantom Menace next week, but yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Bacon, what are your thoughts on The Last Jedi?
It looks great. It's a very beautiful movie. But I have my problems with it, and I've voiced them on here before, but all in all, I don't want to say it's like terrible, because it's like it's my least favorite Star Wars movie, but it's still like in my list of top 25 movies. So, and I do have a lot of appreciation for all the work it must have taken to film everything that was going on. So, especially since we heard that it took 10 months to film a 15-minute fan film. So
yeah,
that's takes some crazy time. But I think, I don't know. I mean, we can't really hate on it because it didn't go the way we planned. It's like, at least me as a fan, I saw Force Awakens. Okay, so it's basically going to be original trilogy, and then they throw a curveball at us with Last Jedi, and I'm like, okay, it added a few things. We got some cool new characters. We got Praetorian Guard, which is probably the best thing to come out of the movie, at least for the characters, because they just how they look. And we got to kind of see a little what happened to Jedi, and it added a good amount that fans needed to get expanded upon. Not much new stuff to move it forward, but it definitely filled in some backstory.
Mr. Ramirez, I know you talked a little bit beforehand. You kind of going to be cautious with this movie. I think that's what you said. But do you have any thoughts on The Last Jedi?
Yeah, I got plenty of thoughts. One of the things that it's easy to pass judgment on it now, but I think we'll see a lot of things differently with the context of episode. At least I hope we will. I think, for instance, I don't think Rey's parents will be nobodies. I think that'll change. I don't know if you know this, but when Empire Strikes Back came out, a lot of people thought Vader was lying when he said, "I'm your father." That's why in Return of the Jedi, Luke has to point blank ask Yoda, "Is he my father?" And Obi-Wan has to give him the spiel of what happened. Because George wanted people to know, no, Vader was telling the truth. So I think, Rey came to the conclusion herself that her parents were nobody, and then Kylo says, yeah, they were, nobody, sold you out for drinking money. So, yeah, I know that's one of the big things about The Last Jedi that people didn't. I think that'll change in episode 9. I think how she fits into the story will kind of change. I'm very interested to see how Palpatine will play into it all. How his relationship.
I have a theory on that, which is in one of the other podcasts, which I think I spent half an hour talking about. I spend too much time
Well, what's
on
the Cliff
my movie
Notes
theories.
version? What's the 2-sentence version of the theory?
So, in Legends, he goes back and forth. He's got a bunch of clone bodies. Do that. So my theory is that he had a body stored on the Death Star just in case Luke took him down, and he transferred his essence when he fell in the reactor shaft, and then he got stuck there because explosions tend to do that. And then when Finn, Poe, and Rey go into the wreckage, at least we assume they do, they somehow trip something that activates it and releases it.
So, according to this theory, he's not active during 7 and...
No, he's still kind of stuck and probably playing some Prison Blues.
I think he's totally active. I don't think he ever stopped. I think
Well,
Snoke
maybe.
is a little puppet.
I mean, of course, with how powerful Palpatine is, he easily could have been, manipulating everything through the Force and, kind of like Ouija boarding Snoke. Like, Snoke would be like, what should I do? And Palpatine would use the Force to do something that would show him. I mean, Snoke might even think he was talking to the Force itself.
Possible. I do, of course, hopefully, I would love to find out more about who Snoke is. I think we'll find out in Episode 9. If I were to have made Episode 8, I would have certainly done a lot of things different. But I gotta. Some of the parts are really awesome too. So, I think Ryan's use of hyperspace was pretty cool. Of course, flying through the ship I thought was awesome. Of course, you can ask the question of, why haven't they done that 300 million other times? But I also liked when Han or Chewie pops out of hyperspace, drops off Rey, and then pops right back into hyperspace. There was a lot of little things that I thought that Ryan did, and bridging the minds of Kylo and Rey.
That was cool.
Force power.
Force projection. Force projection was
the Force projection. So I appreciated the Force powers that Ryan added to.
Except for the one thing that I can't get behind is the floating through space. That's something that I want to like that, but at the same time, you can't have your character do a move that could be really overpowered. She's shown nothing other than being able to occasionally sense something. And when she's been floating in space dead for 5 minutes.
I think in general, the whole Leia not becoming a Jedi is one of my biggest disappointments with both Legends and...
Yeah, well, in Legends, at least they have a good explanation for it, which is that she's so busy helping form New Republic and all that stuff.
Well, that's basically the reason in canon, too.
Yeah.
And I think it sucks. It's just like...
Oh, yeah, I mean, you'd think that the New Republic would be like, we need more Jedi, so go do your training.
George was pretty clear that was his intention. Luke says, in time, you'll learn to use the powers. I wish we would have seen that.
Yeah. I mean, we got to see it in the alternate ending of The Force Unleashed. When Starkiller's off fighting Leia. So we got to see that. We can hold on to that part. They can't take that away from us.
True.
I would say for The Last Jedi, it wasn't quite what I was expecting. I mean, we go from all these other films, and the primary movies, there's a gap between each film. And then you get to The Last Jedi, and it literally picks up right at the end of The Force Awakens. And so I thought that was definitely interesting to see a new take on picking up the next major Star Wars movie.
Actually, sorry to interrupt, an example of a movie picking up almost immediately after would be all the Harry Potter movies. They all pick up 2 weeks after the end of the other one. So,
well, I can't relate to that. I'm not into Harry Potter. My family watches it. They've tried to get me to watch it. I said, no.
You should watch it. Bacon's public service announcement: watch the Harry Potter movies. At least read the books.
I might do that.
You should.
But
listen to the audiobooks. Not sponsored by Audible. Can we get one of those? Can we get an Audible sponsorship? Because that would be all the incentive I need to start using it.
We're trying everything. like Mr. Ramirez said, the new use of hyperspace and new use of force that we see in the movie, I thought that was interesting. I think my favorite scene, it also threw me off guard, had me tripping a little bit, when Luke walked out and activated his lightsaber against Kylo, and it was blue, and there was the Anakin lightsaber. And I thought, didn't I just 5 minutes ago see that thing split in half?
That kind of should have been our first hint. Something was off. Plus the fact that he looked 20 years younger.
I know. I was looking at his face. I said, he doesn't look as old as he did 5 minutes ago in the movie either. Something was just messing in my head. And then when he started moving, I thought, there's no way a 90-year-old man is moving like that.
Well, Yoda was 900. And when he was fighting, he used the Force. And when he wasn't fighting, he, had a cane and a hover chair.
Well,
so, I was just like, well, he's using the Force to enhance his ability.
Yoda is the real OG, but I was still shocked. And I thought at the same time, Mark Hamill's not moving like that anymore. He's not as young as he used to be. But then we see...
He's voicing Chucky.
I did hear that.
In the new Chucky movie, yeah. I'm surprised. I'm like, why whenever he does voice acting, do they always give him evil characters? Like, he was Darth Bane. He's the Joker. He's the trickster in the Flash show, and now he's playing an evil murderous doll. Like, give him some good roles other than Luke. Like,
I think my favorite one that he said it back at Celebration 2017. He said the name he can't say around children, so he calls it Clock Knocker.
I'm immature.
So, but yeah, that's a good question. But in Star Wars, he gets cast as the hero.
He gets cast as like the hero. Like, he's the ultimate. Everyone goes to him with their problems.
Yeah.
So,
I
mean that makes sense for why he'd go into exile. I mean, if I had the entire galaxy calling me up every 5 seconds saying that they had a problem, I'd be like, I'm gonna go to this island for a while. So.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
I know a lot of people that are upset, and they're like, well, Luke would have never have gone into exile. And I'm like, first of all, do you not remember that his entire Jedi Order was burned to the ground in front of him? And, that's gonna weigh on him. Like,
yeah,
that's a little crazy. So I wasn't too upset with what they did with this character. Like, in hindsight, like, when the movie first came out, I'm like, that, and then as I was thinking, I'm like, well, no, he's been through a lot. So, that's when I'm like, well, it kind of makes sense. It seems like something that, any rational person would do when their entire livelihood is burned in front of them for, like, the third time. Because it was Beru and Owen, and then he had to literally watch his father die. Like,
yeah.
Luke, what people don't seem to get is they say that he's like the ultimate hero, and he is, but he earned that. He wasn't just given that. He had to go through a lot of stuff to get to that point. So, it's going to weigh on him. I mean, everyone can break. And that's not just a Joker reference. Everyone can be pushed over.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got it. So, yeah.
Well, we'll move on and start wrapping this show up. I have a few questions here as we have people submit some questions throughout the day. These are for Mr. Ramirez. See if I can find the name. Send it to me separate. Rico from Pennsylvania. He's asking, Mr. Ramirez, why hasn't Disney hired you to make Star Wars movies?
That's a great question.
That's the question I want to know. I wish I knew, man.
My fan film gets picked up.
I hope one day.
If my fan film gets picked up, I know who I'm calling.
Cool, man.
That'll be your foot in the door.
Yep,
man.
He also
there will be Mandalorians, so.
Because why wouldn't there be Mandalorians?
It's Coruscant,
Yeah.
Like, there's everything. I mean, Obi-Wan might have said about Mos Eisley a scum of hive and villainy, but, like, no, that'd be Coruscant, where everybody goes. So, there'll definitely be some Mandalorians. And, I mean, who knows? They might help out the Empire, or they might be fighting against it. Who knows? I don't even know. I haven't written that far into the script. I'm like George Lucas. I suck at dialogue. I cannot write dialogue. Like, I tried writing a movie 12, and I could not write dialogue at all. I'm like, this does not... I'm just going to use the source material for this. Like,
yeah,
it was... So I have a lot of respect for people that can come up with coherent dialogue, because it's not as easy as you'd think.
Just keep
writing.
And
like the worst part is that I'm always writing. Like, I'm always working on, one of the books or any of that. But, and like, I can write that, but for some reason, whenever I'm writing a script, I can't write the dialogue. It's just, I don't know why.
Remember to say the things that aren't said. You don't...
Yeah.
The key with dialogue is people never say what they're thinking. Ever.
I wish they would. It would make my life a lot simpler.
And that's a big thing to keep in mind with dialogue. And that if you can show something, you don't need to say it.
Yeah. And Mandalorians don't really. They're not known for being very talkative. So, I'd let my friend.
It's tough because of the helmets. You got to be careful with helmets. Because when you can't see people's eyes or faces, it cuts off a lot of emotion.
They actually touch upon that in the Republic Commando books. Like, they're talking to some doctor, and the guy is like noticeably unsettled, and the character is like thinking, yeah, it's because he can't see our emotions. He doesn't know how well we're receiving his news. So I always think that's cool that, like, they can be these big family people that will do anything for their family, but once they put on that helmet, if you get in their way, they will kill you, and you won't even see their last emotions.
Yeah.
So that's part of why I love Mandalorians. Just they're the ultimate. They're like America as a person, like fiercely loyal. We stand by our allies, but we'll go in and we'll kick the crap out of you if we need to.
Yeah.
Plus, they've got that sick armor, which actually I set up for you guys here, so you get a little glimpse of my own armor. It's a little bit rough. Everything's just kind of glued on, but I had to rush for a Star Wars Celebration. So, my dad and I have been working on it for the last couple years, so we'll get it. We'll get it eventually. Hopefully, the Mandalorian merch will take.
Yep. Just keep working on it. You'll get it.
Yeah, it's actually I commissioned a Lego guy to make a figure for me, so that's my little armor.
That's awesome.
That's actually what inspired me to start selling customs, because I'm like, that's really cool. Like, if I can get something like that, it's a great way to make money, and it's a lot of fun.
Rico also asked, describe your first impression of Star Wars Theory.
That he was nice. Star Wars Theory is a lot. He's like what you see on his channel. He's a very nice guy. He, of course, knows a lot about Star Wars. But he's a humble guy. He's not into himself. I remember the first time we talked, the very first thing was he told me his name. Very, very first thing out of his mouth. Oh, yeah, man, my name is so.
Ooh, can we not know his real name? Is it a secret? Ooh.
He's good with people seeing his face, but he still doesn't want people knowing his name.
Makes sense. Face reveal. I mean, you guys don't know my real name. You might know my first name if you follow me. In fact, Anakin, I think you know my first name because of my bio, but none of you guys know my last name. The last thing I need is like random people like finding me.
Right.
Like, that'd be weird.
Right.
I think it happened one time that someone messaged me and was like, "Hey, I know where you live." What? And like, yeah, I typed in your name, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna take that off of my account."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand the revealing your face but not your name, because that'd lead to some awkward encounters.
On that note, I've got one. Star Wars Theory, did he reach out to you for the Vader fan film, or did you kind of reach out to him, or how did that relationship come about?
So I was watching one of the videos. I want to make a fan and hire writers and director and build sets and stuff like that. This was probably around when he had 700,000 viewers or 700,000 subs. And so I just sent him an email. I said, hey, I'm a director and writer. I went to the same school that George Lucas went to. My mentor is a guy who directed all the action scenes in Rogue One. And so I just try to like make myself sound as cool as possible. And so he emailed me back. Surprisingly enough, I was surprised to get an email back. And he's like, hey, yeah, I definitely want to do this. Let's wait till I get to 1 million subs. So once 1 million subs came, I hit him back up and the process started. So
now, how much would you charge for like writing a script and all that?
How much would I charge?
Like to hire you to work on a fan film?
Depends on how long the script is. Since I am a professional writer, not how do I put this?
Amateur.
Much more than $100. Let's put it that way.
Ooh, okay. That's a bit out of the price range of your boy, the unemployed 16-year-old. But that might not be out of the price range of the employed 20-something-year-old that I know. So I'll if we get a script, I might email it to you, and you might be like, hey, yeah, here's some pointers, or maybe you'll be like, hey, I'd love to do it for free, and I'd be like, thanks, man.
I would love to do things for free, but I got a wife and 2 kids.
In this world, money costs things.
I've done a lot of things for free in my life, but now I'm just kind of to the.
Yeah.
I gotta make money, so kind of only do things. I don't really do the free stuff anymore.
If it gets picked up by Disney, I'm not gonna have to worry about the budget then. I'm gonna have I'll have the backing of Disney. I honestly would just go crazy with it and buy things that are completely unnecessary, but just kind of throw them in, and then probably take them home. It's not illegal if you pay for it.
That's true.
Like what literally every superhero actor ever has done with their costumes. How many of them have stolen the costumes from set? They wouldn't be too surprised. Although my dream cast for my character, hands down, Chris Pratt. I think he'd make an amazing Mandalorian.
We have a question from Tay in Oregon. She says, out of all the new Star Wars directors, who is your favorite?
Of the new directors. Okay, who do we got of the new directors? We got Ron Howard, Gareth
Rian
Edwards,
Johnson,
Ryan, and JJ. Is that it? Are we missing any? It's just those 4, right?
I mean, technically you, I guess.
Does Dave Filoni count?
Yeah, Dave Filoni is... With Star Wars, Dave Filoni is God. He is the Force. Let's be honest.
Dave Filoni is good. I am anxious to see how he does his episodes of Mandalorian.
And season 7 of the Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars are a different tone than the rest of the films, and so I really like them, but they're definitely a different tone than say Rogue One or Solo. So it's kind of comparing apples and oranges. I would say probably the director I like the most out of JJ. I don't think The Force Awakens is the best of the 4 new ones, mostly just because it was such a rehash of A New Hope. But I think JJ is a great director. I think he knows how to pace his stories. He knows how to move his camera. He knows how to bring up the dramatic tension within the scene. He really knows his stuff. But Ron Howard, of course, does too. Gareth, that's a little difficult because 70% of that movie was reshot, so determining what was him and what wasn't.
Let's just say the Vader part.
Yeah, that was not him. Gareth did not do that.
Ooh.
That was a director named Tony Gilroy. He directed. Tony Gilroy wrote the last 2 Born Supremacy. He's very talented, very good.
Let's get Disney to hire him full time, just to film awesome stuff.
So I don't think he'll do it.
Wait, so he doesn't like Star Wars, but he gave us one of the best scenes.
He does not like Star Wars.
That's
when he
weird.
was brought in to kind of reshape Rogue One. The reason they kind of brought him in is because he's like, because I don't care about Star Wars. I had no reverence for anything. I was fine changing anything and everything just to make the story work. So in that case, it was a good move. I mean, Tony Gilroy, just overall, is a really, really, really talented. He's definitely one of the best. I think it was, but I'd be really surprised if he did a Star. I'm sure they've asked him, but I just imagine. And he's one of those guys who works so much. It's not like he needs the money. But I don't want to misconstrue this as saying that Gareth didn't do a good job. I think Gareth is a great director. I would love to see his version. Gareth, of course, is he was the one who came up with the whole cinema verite, the handheld documentary style of the film. He, of course, was intimately involved in the conception or the development of the story. I'm kind of going on a tangent, but JJ, let's just leave the answer to JJ.
I mean, who knows? Netflix might release the Gareth Edwards cut of Rogue One. I mean, aren't they releasing the Snyder cut of Justice League?
I don't
think I heard. Of course, that might have just.
Snyder never directs a superhero movie.
I don't know why people give him so much hate. I mean,
That's a whole other conversation.
We have a question from Sequel Suck from the U.S. He says, which scene in Shards of the Past took the most takes?
The most takes? We were shooting pretty fast, so we didn't have any shots that really went, I don't think we had any 110 takes. For the most part, it was probably some ones that took like 5 takes. Like, I think the very opening shot of Vader in front of the window was probably about 5 takes to really. The shot of going over Vader's shoulder, looking down into that was probably the taker. Maybe it was even 3. Trying to think of the. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing that really stands out. I mean, we were pretty well prepared because we had to shoot so quickly, and so we had rehearsed and everything. We didn't. Any time that it took multiple takes was just for camera, because the actors were pretty well. Kind of a lame answer. Sorry.
Well, Bacon, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I think pretty good. I mean, other than, my usual theories, I think this is at about the time when I just kind of sit back and listen till you guys end it. And, I don't currently know enough to come up with any theories other than Mace Windu and Vader are going to have some a very nice conversation.
Very nice conversation. Somebody will get the high ground too. I promise that.
The question is.
No.
Go ahead.
I would imagine Mace, would be naturally, as you would assume, would be a little bit upset at the whole "you got my hand cut off, me electrocuted and thrown out of a window." But at the same time, Mace is all the Jedi, no emotional peace thing. So how's if this is a spoiler, you don't have to answer it. But how's he feeling about this whole thing?
That's kind of a spoiler, so I won't talk.
He is mad, or not mad, but he is like a little bit upset at Vader.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. You'll see Mason a little bit differently than you've seen him before.
So is he because I know in those kind of trials, people either get really optimistic or really nihilist. So is he more, trusting in the Force, like, whoa, I survived something I probably shouldn't have? Or is he more like, okay, so the Force is, abandoned me?
I don't think he feels either one of them.
So he's like a more grizzled version of the Mace Windu that we currently know.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. Well, I can't wait. When does this drop again?
Next year, probably. So not for a while. Ooh. Encourage people to donate to Star Wars Theories Patreon, I guess.
Oh, I'll definitely do that, and I've got plenty of time to come up with a bunch of theories. So don't be surprised if all of a sudden I have a theory about Mace Windu secretly being his original twin sister or something weird like that. That's usually how my theories go. You know me. My theories go. Yeah, it's not Darth Jar Jar anymore. It's Jedi Master Jar Jar. He was secretly in deep cover. He was a triple agent.
That's good to know.
Jar Jar Binks is Mace Windu. I mean, we've never seen them in the same room at the same time, have we?
Yeah, we see him at the landing dock in Episode 3.
Not at the same time, though.
Yeah. He's standing right behind. Jar Jar's standing right behind.
Force projection's a thing, though, so... Okay, that theory's gone. Okay. Jar Jar Binks is... Okay, I'm trying to think of a character he hasn't been with. Jar Jar Binks is Yoda. I don't think we've seen them together. Was Yoda on the landing pad?
I don't think so.
See, you think that's something that Yoda would go to, but so Jar Jar Binks is Yoda, and I don't mean the like, you know, I don't know if it was Star Wars Theory that had a video on like Jar Jar was originally supposed to be the dark side equivalent of Yoda, but like, you know, Jar Jar Binks is Yoda, same character. Yoda's like Yoda's in the Clone Wars. There was that bounty hunter that was like really small but had a big suit. That's Jar Jar with Yoda.
I support it.
Boom. Forget Darth Jar Jar. Jar Jar is Yoda. If like that goes trending, I'm gonna be really happy. I don't expect it to, so I'll be even more happy. Let's get that trending. Hashtag Jar Jar is Yoda.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming out. As always, it's a pleasure having any guest on the show, and tonight, the huge honor of having director Daniel Rameriz on the show with us. Can't thank you enough for coming out and hanging out with us. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, maybe you'll come back one day and we can talk more about the fan films, anything Star Wars.
After Episode 2, let's do it.
I will develop more on my Jar Jar theories.
I will definitely be contacting you after Episode 2 and get some more intel and information on that. I'm going to try and see if you can come back maybe one day once we have a release date and see how much you can give us on maybe how the filming went, and obviously not spoiling anything for us, but just kind of give us some information about how everything went. But
yeah,
cool, man. Sounds good.
And if you want, I can email you the 2 books that I currently have done.
Yeah, sure, send it to me. I will put them in the queue of things I need to read. It will take more than 6 months, I can promise you that.
Oh, but that'll be perfect, because by then I'll have probably the last 2 done, so you can just kind of read it all at once.
Somebody wrote a script, a friend of mine, about Django and blanking on the name. This whole script.
Dooku? Dr. Grandis?
Yeah, Dooku's in it.
Now, is that for like a fan film that he wants you to do?
No, he just wanted my notes, so you got to finish it. Maybe I'll.
I was gonna say if that's like, you know, for a fan film he wants you to help him with, then do that first, because I want that. And if he does turn it, you know, like, keep me in mind as, you know, your Mandalorian dude. I'm trying to expose my brand.
Well, you guys got anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No.
Alright, we'll get this wrapped up. As Yoshi always says when we wrap up, remember, love, peace, and chicken grease. I don't know why he says it, but he just does. And
Yoshi's special.
He is. You know, he's a redhead, so he's something else. And as I always say, it's been fun, lit, hype. Thank you guys so much for coming out, especially Mr. Danny Ramirez. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and hanging out with us. We will catch you guys in the next episode of the 501st Chill Zone Live. Remember, you can find Bacon at Just a Dude Who Eats Bacon. He'll be linked down below in the description. And Mr. Daniel Ramirez, he'll be linked down there as well. So go check them out, show them the love, give them follows. And again, we'll see you guys in the next episode. See you later.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground! You underestimate my power!
We would be honored if you would join us.
This is where the fun begins.